The Bible according to Mark Twain, Noah's Flood, Part 2. On the third day, about noon, it was found that a fly had been left behind. The return voyage turned out to be long and difficult on account of the lack of chart and compass, and because of the changed aspects of all coast, the steadily rising water having submerged some of the lower landmarks and given the higher ones an unfamiliar look. But after 16 days of earnest and faithful seeking, the fly was found at last and received on board with hymns of praise and gratitude. The family standing meanwhile uncovered out of reverence for its divine origin. It was weary and worn and had suffered somewhat from the weather, but was otherwise in good estate. Man and their families had died of hunger on barren mountaintops, but it had not lacked for food. The multitudinous corpses furnished it in rank and rotten riches. Thus was the sacred bird providentially preserved. Providentially, that is the word, for the fly had not been left behind by accident. No, the hand of providence was in it. There are no accidents. All things that happen for a purpose. They are foreseen from the beginning of time. They are ordained from the beginning of time. From the dawn of creation, the Lord had foreseen that Noah, being alarmed and confused by the invasion of the prodigious brevet fossils, would prematurely fly to sea unprovided with a certain invaluable disease. He would have all the other diseases and could distribute them among the new races of men as they appeared in the world. But he would lack one of the very best, typhoid fever, a malady which, when the circumstances are especially favorable, is able to utterly wreck a patient without killing him, for it can restore him to his feet with a long life in him, and yet deaf, dumb, blind, and crippled and idiotic. The housefly is its main disseminator, and is more competent and more calamitously effective than all the other distributors of the dreaded scourge put together. And so, by foreordination from the beginning of time, this fly was left behind to seek out a typhoid corpse, and feed upon its corruptions, and gum its legs with the germs, and transfer them to the repeopled world for permanent business. From that one housefly, in the ages that have since elapsed, billions of sickbeds have been stocked, billions of wrecked bodies sent tottering about the earth, and billions of cemeteries recruited with the dead. It is most difficult to understand the disposition of the Bible God. It is such a confusion of contradictions, of watery instabilities and iron firmnesses, of goody-goody abstract morals made out of words, and concreted hell-born ones made out of acts, of fleeting kindnesses repented of in permanent malignities. However, when after much puzzling you get at the key to his disposition, you do at last arrive at a sort of understanding of it. With the most quaint and juvenile and astonishing frankness, he has furnished that key to himself. It is jealousy. I expect that to take your breath away. You are aware, for I have already told you in an earlier letter, that among human beings jealousy ranks distinctly as a weakness, a trademark of small minds, a property of all small minds, yet a property which even the smallest is ashamed of, and when accused of its possession will lyingly deny it and resent the accusation as an insult. Jealousy? Do not forget it. Keep it in mind. It is the key. With it you will come to partly understand God as we go along. Without it nobody can understand him. As I have said, he has openly held up this treasonous key himself for all to see. He says, naively, outspokenly, and without suggestion of embarrassment, I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God. You see, it is only another way of saying, I, the Lord thy God, am a small God and fretful about small things. He was given a warning. He could not bear the thought of any other God getting some of the Sunday compliments of this crucial little human race. He wanted all of them for himself. He valued them. To him they were riches. just as tin money is to a Zulu. But wait, I am not fair. I am misrepresenting him. Prejudice is beguiling me into saying what is not true. He did not say he wanted all of the adulations. He said nothing about not being willing to share them with his fellow gods. What he said was, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." It is a quite different thing and puts him in a much better light, I confess it. There was an abundance of gods, the woods were full of them. As the saying is, and all he demanded was that he should be ranked as high as the others, not above any of them, but not below any of them. He was willing that they should fertilize earthly virgins, but not on any better terms than he could have for himself in his turn. He wanted to be held their equal. This he insisted upon in the clearest language. He would have no other gods before him. They could march abreast with him, but none of them could head the procession, and he did not claim the right to head it himself. Do you think he was able to stick to that upright, incredible position? No. He could keep to a bad resolution forever, but he couldn't keep to a good one a month. By and by, he threw this one aside and calmly claimed to be the only God in the entire universe.